Do you ever feel like you're working harder than ever before, but just not seeing the growth you want? Well, I got to tell you, you're not alone. And today we're going to uncover the hidden bottleneck that's keeping you stuck. It's the number one thing I believe that's keeping loan officers from achieving their goals and financial dreams of freedom. You know what? When I think about when I got the business as a loan officer, the expectation in this industry has always been that the loan officer does everything. It's your job to chase conditions, to schedule title, to call the insurance agent, to follow up on docs whenever the clients aren't responding. You need the fourth page of the bank statement because the processor doesn't want to call again. And I mean, I feel this wind being sucked out of the room whenever I think about constantly putting out fires. And I've got a call because this file may be suspended because we're missing an income doc. And then I hear somebody saying, well, that's not my job and I'm not going to do that, but I need you to go get more loans. So make sure that you're making phone calls, you're being proactive, you're talking to agents, you're building relationships, you're converting the clients, you're asking for the business. And it literally goes on and on and on and on. And I don't know about y'all, but if you start feeling the emotional side of all of the task that I just mentioned. Not to mention, you got to get them approved, run AUS, make sure that you're talking to the listing agent, talking to the buyer's agent. I mean, the immense amount of task. And so the thing that I think about is what is probably, in my opinion, the number one bottleneck that's keeping you from achieving the goal and your financial freedom. I was talking to a loan officer earlier today who wants to double his production. And this exact conversation came up because, see, when you have a bottleneck or something that is pulling you back into files, here's what we've got to really identify as number one, where's the bottleneck? Where are you having your time? Or where is your time being spent or invested? I was on the phone with somebody literally just a few minutes ago. We spent about 30 minutes working on his business, and his goal is to get to 10 fundings a month. And right now he's closing about five or six and wants to get there in the next 90 to 100 days. And so with a question is where, like, once you get a file, once you lock it in and once you hand it off, how much time are you spending in a file in what I would call contract to close? And the remarkable thing is, he said, 10 to 20 hours a week. And I'm just like, wow, well, that's your bottleneck. If you gave yourself back an extra 10, let's even say 15 hours a week, that's 60 hours a month. Do you think you could double your prospecting efforts? And what do we all know? The answer is yes. And so what we have to do for some of you, it's just take an assessment of identifying where is the bottleneck currently in my process. And literally what I'm finding with so many conversations, most people, if you're spending more than an hour a week on the back end of your files, which means when I get a loan, I get it locked in, I hand it off, and then the team takes it contract to close, which means they reach out to the client, they get updated documents, they re-verify the documents, they submit into underwriting. We get an underwriting approval. They chase conditions. They set closing. They get insurance. They get the appraisal. Like, they're doing everything. All we should be doing is once a week, pipeline update with our back-end processor or loan partner who's helping us contract to close. Because if I were to ask you this and say, identify the bottleneck, where did you spend the majority of your time this week? And here's an even more clarifying question. In your files contract to close, how much time this week did you spend in contract to close? Putting out a fire, talking to an underwriter, chasing conditions, helping the processor find solutions, calling the borrowers. Like, how much time did you spend? And what I think about is this: the impact on your growth is that that lost time that you've already got somebody who's handling the file contract to close, but that time that's not spent prospecting or in relationship building activity is money where you're trading literally. Like, look, it's so fascinating. If you spent 10 hours this week on a file, you spent 10 hours in $20 to $25 an hour activity versus an additional 10 hours in $500 an hour activity, which is prospecting and building great agent relationships. And so the challenge is we don't really understand what that time is costing us. Uh, because when you look at the difference in the example, when I was talking to the loan officer earlier today, this month he'll make $20,000 a month this month. And when he gets to his goal, he'll make 40 plus $1,000 a month. And the question was, what's the number one thing holding you back from doubling your business? And his, not even a flinch, not even a hesitation. It was, I'm doing busy work. Well, what's the busy work? I'm chasing conditions. I'm essentially processing files, and I'm still in the file 10 to 15 at a high week, 20 hours, low week, 10 hours a week in my files. And I said, so you've got a $20,000 gap. If you double your production, you go from $20,000 to $40,000, and you're choosing to do $20 to $25 an hour work. Does that bother you? And you know what his response was? Yeah, it bothers me. And I said, well, why haven't you done anything about it? You know what the amazing thing was? He said, Steve, I didn't realize what it was costing me. And I said, yeah, you have a $20,000 problem a month. Hey there, if you're loving the tips so far, make sure to hit that subscribe button and tap the bell so you never miss out on more cool free tips coming your way. I'd also love to hear from you. Make sure to drop a comment below and let me know what you think, or what it is you want to see next. And we'll see you on the inside. See you. If you hired somebody at $4,000 or even $5,000 a month, you would still net, $16,000, $15,000, $14,000 a month if you just had somebody doing the busy work. So what I think part of the challenge is we're not actually counting the cost of what it's costing us to do it ourselves. Not only is it costing you financially, every hour you spend is you're choosing, I say it like this all the time. You're a printing press, your time is. And everybody has the same ink, everybody has the same printer and the same types of paper. What denomination is printed is chosen by the activity we choose to do. So if I choose to work on $20 to $25 an hour work, then I'm choosing to pay myself $20 to $25 an hour. If I choose to do sales activity, which nurtures relationships and gets more deals, I'm choosing to do $500 an hour activity. So there is a financial impact. Here's the other thing too, doing it all yourself. Like I hear somebody say, yeah, well, I just don't have the resources to hire somebody. I think you don't have it's costing you too much money not to hire somebody. But let's just even say this, when all roads lead to you, there's an emotional toll. The emotional toll is burnout and frustration and feeling like you're on a hamster wheel. I was talking to this loan officer and he said, yeah, man, I'll hit 7, 8, 9, 10 loans. And then all of a sudden my next month it drops down to zero. Well, that's a problem, but it makes sense because when you're having to do everything, including parts of processing your own loans, at some point there is no more time and the urgent will overtake the important. So what's the cost of doing it yourself? You got a financial impact, you got an emotional toll. You also have an opportunity cost because here's what people don't realize. When I empower the right people to do the right function on my team, they actually allow me to scale because not all roads lead to me. And here's what's interesting. If you were to say, hey, Steve, let's double your business, most people, and what I used to say was, I can't double my business. I can't double the amount of time or hours I'm working. And it wasn't until understanding the power of a who. When you have the right people doing the right activity, they don't cost you money. It's an investment because what they're doing allows you to go do even more sales. And that sales allows you to bring in more money, more revenue, and also a really cool side effect. You get to do what you love, what you're the best at, and what makes you the most money, which really allows you to be fulfilled. I find that most top producing loan officers don't like doing the busy work, don't like chasing conditions, don't like talking with underwriters, don't like working with the title company. What do they want to do? They want to build relationships and get away from the busy work. And here's the good news is you can do it. The thing you've got to do is just say, I choose. And here's what we've got to learn to do is delegate everything that isn't money making or relationship building activity. Maybe you got a great back end processor, but you need somebody on the front end who's doing more of the busy work. And if they lifted off the busy work, guess what? You'd go do more relationship money making activities. And so I know some of the fears of letting go. Why do most loan officers not solve this? I think because there's this false belief that no one can do it as well as I can, or oh, I've tried that in the past, it didn't work, or believing that delegating to a back end team member would cause confusion, or your clients or your agents don't like it. And what I want to challenge you is this: there's a really cool way to do it, so that when you delegate to your back end team or you delegate to the next person, you can build authentic relationships. They can actually help you grow your business, because when they touch the lead, they call the partner. When they touch, they're touching the client, they're asking for the business. When they're touching the referring agent, they're asking for the business. They become an extension of you. And so not only can they do it as well as you, oftentimes they can do it better than you, because it's something they're good at and you're not. But I know what happens is there can be this fear of letting go. So we have to have a mindset shift. And what that is you're not just a loan officer, you're the CEO of your business. Like when I get to realizing I'm not just an order taker, I'm not just a loan officer, I'm building a meaningful business where all roads don't lead to me. And here's the thing, if I'm a CEO of my business, CEOs don't do paperwork. We lead, strategize, and scale. So what we're doing is empowering the right people to lift the busy work off our plate. And you may say, Steve, how do I fix it? Here's what I would do. Number one, audit your time. Track your time this week. Identify anything that isn't directly tied to revenue or relationships, and then ask who can do this. And then as you begin to audit your time and have an honest assessment of where you're spending your time, then you'll begin to see, is it being productive or is it busy? And if it's busy, who can do this? Step two, hire or train the right loan partner. Look for someone who thrives in the details of what you have listed out that needs to get done, but you don't want to get it done. It's not money making or relationship building activity. So what you'll do is begin to hire or train the right loan partner for either the back end or the front end, who thrives on details and loves managing processes. Number three, build some of the proven contract to close systems. Now, members of the marketing animals, we got all this dialed in, use templates, we got checklists and automations, but you got to build a contract to close system, so that we always say it like this: it's the same way every time. So is my process increasing chaos or removing the chaos? And if I focus on the right activities, and I have somebody who's gifted at details doing the right activities they're good at, and we have a process that it's done the same way every time, then you'll be able to grow and focus on growth activities, which is spending your time meeting with referral partners and building your database and creating new opportunities. So what happens when you fix it? You get more time, you get more money, and you get a better client experience. So the real question is this: are you willing to let go of the busy work to unlock your next level of growth? And it's really your choice. And so I'd say this: if it resonates with you, you're ready to fix the bottleneck, let's talk. Hey, book a 15-minute strategy call with me, and we'll map out how to build your contract to close process that truly sets you free from all the busy work. Go to resultswithsteve.com, resultswithsteve.com, and book a 15-minute strategy. Put in there you want to talk about the process and working on the back end, how to empower your team members to do more of the busy work, and get into the calendar. I'll help you with it. We'll invest 15 minutes, and I'm confident it'll be worth your time. Remember this: success isn't about doing it all. It's about doing the right things and trusting the right people to handle the rest. I hope it helps, and we'll see you on the inside. See you.